Finally, we're to the last part of the flipped lecture, and that is your assignment. So what we'd like you to do for this assignment, or what I'd like you to do really, is to create an actual rubric. I would like you to have practice working with these tools and really kind of being teacher-like in that you have to develop an actual rubric. And so what we're going to do, and this might be, it might seem, wow, well, I'm going to develop a rubric for a project I haven't even developed. And that's okay, because we do that all the time in education as we get ready for our unit plans and so forth. So don't get too tied up in, oh yeah, but I haven't done this yet. I don't want you thinking about the technology and the project that you'll be creating. I want you to be more concerned about the content and what you're teaching, and then how you assess that content. So, in this scenario, in a couple of weeks, you are going to be developing a technology project around the topic of habitats. So remember, we're going to head into now science, and for science, habitats is a common theme that's taught at a variety of grade levels, at a variety of lower elementary and upper elementary grades, okay? So what I want you to do is start thinking about some learning objectives that could be written for such a lesson in a classroom, and then you would develop the assessment tool for evaluating those objectives. And remember, again, as we've taught you, those objectives would have a condition, a behavioral verb, and criteria. For the assessment tool, what's the most important? It's going to be looking at the criteria, because if you've written really solid objectives, you should be able to pull the criteria out of those objectives and then write the assessment tools around to measure those criteria. Okay, so the last note on this one is the actual technology project that you're going to be creating is using a web tool called ThingLink. Okay, and so you will use or learn ThingLink in a couple of weeks. But as I say, in order to do this assessment, you don't have to worry about that yet. Focus on the content and what you want your students to learn. Okay, so what's this going to look like? Well, I'm going to try to help you out a little bit. So I've written the objectives, and now what you have to do is pull the criteria out of these objectives, and then using those criteria, design a rubric. Okay, so for example, number one, after viewing a short introductory video on habitats, students will orally explain what a habitat is and why it is important with 100% accuracy. Then, two, after participating in several classroom activities, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Three, after conducting research and gathering resources on habitats selected, what are they going to do? Okay, and again, ThingLink is in here, and even though you haven't used it, you guys, I don't think that's what you have to worry about. Think about the criteria and then what you would do to design an assessment around those criteria. Okay, so your assignment is this, and keep it in mind, you guys, this is just practice, okay? We're practicing making this assessment so that in a couple of weeks down the road again, you are maybe developing, this will help you develop an actual assessment for the lesson plan that you're designing. Okay, it may not be a rubric, but at least you'll get the idea that, you know what, whatever your criteria is in your objectives that you've written for a lesson plan, those objectives have to be aligned with that assessment. Okay, so what I'm asking you to do is actually create a rubric using the 3 objectives stated on the last slide to guide your development of that rubric. You guys, step 9 in the flipped lecture is just a printout, a PDF file of these slides. So you can just print those out or however you want to do to identify the criteria and so forth. So that's all that step is, okay? Number 2, you've explored the online assessment tools, and explore them again if you need to get some ideas for developing the rubric, okay? You guys, you can use the ideas, but it will help you get the verbiage, get the academic language that you need, help you think about it, okay? I am going to force your hand a little bit because in number 3 here, I'm going to have you use Rubistar to create the rubric. I think if you get used to using Rubistar, that's going to be a very powerful and useful tool for you. So what you have to do is you must have at least 3 criteria stated. So pull out those criteria that you find in those objectives. There's more than 3, but minimal, you use 3. Then you have to come up with a rating scale for at least 3 levels. What that means, you guys, are like 1, 2, and 3, or outstanding, satisfactory, needs improvement. That's your rating scale, okay? And you can have 4 or 5, it's up to you, but you have to have at least 3. And then you have to complete the meanings or the definitions for each scale. Now that's the tricky part, because you have to figure out in those descriptions for the certain criteria, what's the difference between outstanding and satisfactory? And what's the difference between satisfactory and needs improvement? Because they can't all read the same, because you can't grade them the same. You have to have them different. And so there again, I think it was maybe in my 3rd video where I gave you the actual example, rubrics example from the World War II rationing video. You know, you have to be able to, what's the difference? Because that's what you're grading, okay? Okay, so that's your assignment. And again, I'm going to just emphasize, you guys, this is practice. Doesn't have to be perfection, but you have to make a good effort at trying this out. And just, you know, it's a great exercise, I think, for you as a future teacher. The 4th thing here is, now what I'd like you to do is bring a printed copy of this rubric to class. You guys, that's the only way I'm going to accept it, because I do want to use them in class and I do want a printed copy. Please don't bring it on your computer. Please bring a printed copy, because we're going to trade around a little bit, okay? So that's what you have to do for the flipped class this time. And I hope you have you learn a little bit more about assessment. Again, I think this is a good example of a flipped again, because there's a lot of things I need you to, like, be on a computer to go check out those assessment tools and stuff. And in a typical class, that's difficult to do, because some of you don't have that access during class. So I just think, you know, there's some content that just aligns really well, or you can align it really well to this type of learning experience. So with that, I will leave you, and thanks a lot for completing the flipped lecture, and good luck. And I can't wait to see your rubrics that you have designed next Tuesday. Okay? So good luck, and have fun doing it.